VETA, stupid.
On June 23, 2024, at about 2 p.m., 64-year-old Vita Meints went grocery shopping to the local Food for Less about 2 miles from her apartment. She doesn't drive, so she does this walk quite regularly. On one of her previous trips to the store, she took notice that the occupants of a home on the 1200 block of East Woodland Street appeared to be moving out. So on this day, when she was walking by that house, it appeared to be unoccupied, and her thought was that perhaps the house would be on the market as a rental property soon. So she decided to take a closer look at the yard to see if it would be ideal for her dog if she were to rent the home. She took about 10 steps onto the property and was stopped in the side yard by an angry neighbor, who from her window yelled at Vita that she could not be on the property. Vita immediately turned around, left, and proceeded on her way to Food for Less. It appears at some point that the angry neighbor noticed some sort of vandalism to the home as well, but the angry neighbor was well aware that Vita was not near the area of the house where the vandalism occurred. So it appears the call for service to the police was to both trespass Vita and report the observed vandalism. Once Vita completed her shopping, she began her walk back home on the same route she took to the store. Meanwhile, Field Training Officer Austin Mudd and Officer Skyler Parker with the Springfield, Missouri Police Department arrived at the angry neighbor's house at approximately 3 p.m. And after speaking with the angry neighbor's son for about 90 seconds, he notices Vita walking down the street on her return trip from the store. He points her out to the officers, and Officer Parker goes to initiate contact with her.
I saw her walking back there, and I yelled at my mom that somebody's going in the backyard, and I ran out and stopped her.
Yeah, okay. When was the last time you guys noticed?
That's actually the female right there.
Okay.
Right over there.
Now, as you're about to see, these officers do not understand how trespassing works. So let's cover it now so there's no question about their ignorance. Missouri Revised Statute 569.150, second-degree trespassing. A person commits trespass in the second degree if he or she enters unlawfully upon the real property of another. This is an offense of absolute liability. A violation of the statute is an infraction, meaning you just get a ticket with a maximum fine of $200. Missouri is the only state that has the "this is an offense of absolute liability" wording in a trespassing law, and it appears to only exacerbate an officer's ability to understand the law, or it is just the basis for a lie they frequently use to make citizens believe they are actually trespassing. Whether it is ignorance or malice, both officers appear to infer that because the law states it is an offense of absolute liability, a person trespasses the moment they set foot on private property, and this is absolutely false. Take a look at the law again. A person commits trespass in the second degree if he or she enters unlawfully upon the real property of another. The absolute liability is contingent upon it being determined that a person has entered the property unlawfully, which Vita did not do. There are two simple factors in determining unlawful entry to a property. Number one, was the person made aware prior that entry is not permitted, either verbally or by visual indicators? 2. Did the person refuse to leave after being made aware entry is prohibited? It is only those two things that constitute trespassing. Do you get it now, Mudd and Parker? Trespassing is entering when made aware prior it is prohibited, or staying after being told to leave. That is it. That is the threshold you are required to meet prior to initiating an investigatory detention for trespassing. Detaining someone without this threshold being met is a Fourth Amendment violation.
Hey, police, stop. Yes, you.
Officer Parker cannot legally order Vita to stop. All he is authorized to do in this situation is initiate a consensual encounter. But this is what happens when undereducated officers are unleashed on society. You will notice that his overall behavior is unprofessional and egregious as he mishandles and escalates this entire unlawful interaction.
Can I help you?
Yeah. So, somebody seen you, into the backyard? Yeah.
Well, see, I seen the people move out, and they had a box of stuff. When they moved out, that was in the yard for free. So I seen they moved out, and I said, well, I'm going to check out the backyard, see how big it is, because it's empty. She cussed me up once I'm down the other. That lady.
Who? This lady?
Yes, she did. She said,
cussed you out?
Yeah. She says, you can't go back there. Don't you ever send anybody back there in that yard.
Within a few seconds of Officer Parker speaking with Vita, she understands what he's inquiring about, and even though she's not required to do so by law, she begins explaining to him what transpired. She most likely didn't know that she did not have to talk to him, but it is probably best that she did, because given his demeanor, he probably would have initiated an unlawful arrest immediately.
I said, ma'am, I wasn't going in there. I was just trying to look at the backyard, see if it was
Where
big
do you
enough.
live?
I live at Battlefield Towers.
Live at Battlefield Towers?
Yeah.
You walk there after getting groceries?
Yes.
This right here is one of the biggest problems with bad or poorly trained officers. Someone is providing a statement and the officer interrupts by injecting questions, jumping the timeline, and redirecting the conversation away from the person's extemporaneous description of the events, thus preventing the officer from getting a complete linear explanation from the person about the matter they are there to investigate. An officer's job here is to guide the individual to provide the pertinent facts, not to interject, suppose, and guess.
That's the only way I have to get around.
Okay.
I was not doing nothing wrong, sir.
You're in the backyard just...
No, I didn't even go to... I didn't even get there.
Now Officer Parker is trying to backfill her explanation when he should have just shut the f*** up and listened and let her finish.
I didn't even get there. She wouldn't let me go back
Why are you
there.
yelling at me? Am I yelling at you? No. Okay, let's chill out, okay? I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
I have anxiety. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah,
you're
I
fine.
can't deal with that.
Sorry I had to raise my voice. You were raising your voice, okay?
Because of my anxiety, because it's stupid.
She is not actually yelling at you, Officer Parker. What you are hearing in Vita's voice is a change in intonation called affective prosody. It is how one's voice changes when they are getting upset because they are being bullied and put in a situation where they feel they have to unnecessarily defend their actions. Just being confronted by a police officer can be intimidating. Never mind the fact that you are making her explain herself, interrupting her, and trying to play fill in the blanks. Your approach, your demeanor, your lack of critical thinking, and your propensity to escalate this interaction is what has brought her to this emotional level. This is very important to point out because it is completely normal reactions like this that officers twist in their report narratives to say that a person yelled, was verbally combative and uncooperative, and when these incidents result in a citation or arrest, that means the prosecutor and the judge or magistrate will be waving those words around the courtroom like an American flag on the 4th of July. And the fact that Vita feels she needs to apologize to this inept officer is disgusting.
All I wanted to do was look at the backyard because
So how far did you get into the yard?
I didn't even get to where her dog was because the dog started barking when I got back, so I
don't
came
know where
off.
her dog is. Where...
It's right between the houses with the...
So you went between the houses?
No, I was walking toward the backyard. I didn't get to the back.
You didn't get to the backyard?
No.
Why were you looking in the backyard again? Just to see how big it was?
To see how big...
Were you looking at buying the house?
Well, I thought maybe he was going to rent it or something, and I was trying to see the yard to see if it was big enough.
Okay. I'm just trying to get your story here, okay?
That's my story.
I gotta get both sides.
I understand that. Well, thank you for doing that.
He is already trying to run back through her statement when she wasn't even really finished, and he wasn't even restating all of what she got out accurately. He was not practicing active listening and is not conducting a proper investigation.
But I didn't do anything wrong.
So you saw he was moving out, so you were going to check out the backyard, see how big it was, because you were thinking about renting the house, if it was up for rent.
Exactly.
She came out and started yelling and cursing
She yelled
at
me through the kitchen window.
Oh, okay.
She says, "What are you doing?" He says, "She's just going to look at the backyard, Mom, to see, or whoever, to see how big the yard is." No, she's not. She's got to get the hell out of it. I was like, whoa, okay. I just turned around and left and went ahead and walked and got my groceries. Okay. I don't want to live there anyway because I can't live next to that because I'd be doing this all the time.
Yeah, we don't want that. Her anxiety would go crazy, wouldn't it?
At PTSD, she don't know that.
Okay.
You know, and I can't handle it when somebody yells at me. That is the worst thing that possible.
I'm sorry that you have that, okay? What is your name?
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, because I'm talking to you, and I'd like to know your name for, what's going on.
I don't want her to know my damn name. I don't want her to know my name.
I'm not giving her your name. This is for me.
This is already an unlawful detention, even though he doesn't tell her for 2 more minutes that she's detained. Earlier, when Officer Parker gave the command for her to stop, in the eyes of the court, she was detained at that moment.
Hey, police, stop.
Therefore, that would be count 1 of a Fourth Amendment violation. And now, with him requiring her to provide her name and date of birth, this would be count 2 of a Fourth Amendment violation. Officer Parker saying, "I'm not giving her your name, this is for me," is very disingenuous. Everything about this interaction, the call log, the police report, and the body-worn camera video that you are currently watching, is all public information. Therefore, the angry neighbor or anyone else can easily get all of her information. Hell, they did not even redact her information from this video.
I call police all the time. I tell them about stuff that they don't even see and stuff. And I don't understand why you always have to give your name. I just didn't do nothing. No, I did.
What's wrong with giving a name? You got something to hide, or?
Not hardly.
Not hardly?
Not hardly. Not me.
Well, then what is your name?
It's Vita Meints. Spell it yourself. I'm tired. I just walked in the sun and I'm walking back in the sun. I am tired. I'm hot. And she wants to complain about it because I wanted to check out the yard so I can possibly maybe rent this house or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she wants to call the police on me.
You just go grocery shopping, or?
Yes, I did. Walked all the way to Food for Less.
How far is that?
I'm over there off Independence and Campbell.
Dang, you walked pretty far, didn't you?
Yes, I did. And I'm hot. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. And I just want to go home. And I didn't think.
Well, I need to know your name, okay? You need
Vita Meints. That's all I'm telling you. That's my name.
You need to spell it out for me.
No, I don't.
I have to identify you.
You can spell. I'm sure of that.
So you, Vita Meints?
Meints.
Meints?
It's German. MEINTS, and that's all I'm telling you. Take the rest out yourself. I live at Battlefield Towers, and that's all I'm telling you. Because I have.
Well, I need to identify you because I have reasonable suspicion that you were trespassing on that property. Okay.
I was not trespassing on that property.
Okay. As of this moment, you are detained, so you have to identify yourself.
Actually, Officer Parker, she does not. Contrary to what you just said, you do not have reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime. She did not enter the property unlawfully and left immediately when requested to do so. Reasonable articulable suspicion comes from the Supreme Court case law Terry v. Ohio. And because that is a clearly established ruling, this officer has just significantly increased the likelihood of himself and the city being held liable in federal court.
VETA, stupid.
Well, that's not very nice.
Well, you ain't very nice either, so there you go.
I was starting out nice till you started yelling at me.
No, you yelled at me first. She yelled at me first. You want to get the truth about it. Gets my PTSD in. And then you want to stop me?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you did. I'm glad you didn't have nothing else better to do with your time.
I don't want to put you in handcuffs, okay?
Oh, yes, you fucking do. Because that is exactly what you were about to do next. You close your little notebook, place it in your pocket, and casually walk over to her to initiate excessive force by placing her in handcuffs. That makes count 3 of a Fourth Amendment violation. But you can't help it, Officer Parker, can you? Because it is the Band-Aid for your cut ego. Using your power like that makes all of her vented frustration and name-calling of you go away. Doesn't it, Officer Parker? You can't possibly allow her to have her human emotions, because they will haunt your little empty head tonight when you lay down to go to sleep. You need to assert your power to control this dangerous threat, personified by a 90-pound, 64-year-old woman who didn't break the law. In addition to common sense and department policy, a reasonable and competent officer is compelled to abide by the Supreme Court case law of Graham v. Connor when exercising any force on a citizen. Use of force must be through a lens of objective reasonableness and proportional to the severity of the crime, whether there is an immediate threat to self, public, or officers, and if active resistance or evading of arrest is occurring. These are commonly referred to as the Graham factors. Handcuffing or any use of force cannot be applied as a punishment for words or behavior that is otherwise non-threatening, especially in a situation such as this, where the person is only getting emotional due to their illegal detention. Did you really think she was going to take a swing at you, Officer Parker? Did you think she was going to run away? Is that reasonable? No, it's not.
Whatever. Do whatever it is you gotta do.
What's your date of birth?
I was born in October 27, 1959. I'm 5'2". I weigh 90 pounds. I have PTSD. I have anxiety disorder, depression disorder. I did not do anything wrong. I'll be 65 years old.
Don't put your hands behind your back for me.
No.
Stop resisting. Stop.
Oh, I love it. Get it, baby. Get it. I know you want to boot me. I'm not doing anything.
Okay, I didn't want to have to do this.
Yes,
right?
You did, or you
What do you mean? You're the one who was freaking out.
That's all you guys do. Sure. You don't do nothing else to old people.
Let go of your phone.
Let go of the phone. I'm done being nice with you.
Yeah, why don't you just, here, check my purse.
What's your deal?
Take whatever you want.
What's your deal, man?
I have PTSD, she does set it off.
And taking her phone out of her hand, That is count 4 of a Fourth Amendment violation. And these are not just civil rights violations taking place here. It's an invasion on Veta's humanity. Even if Veta did enter that yard unlawfully, and she was only getting worked up because she got caught doing something wrong, Officer Parker's actions are still not even justified just to issue a citation. Is he ignorant or evil? Or does he behave this way because officers in this country are groomed in the academies to take action based on their own feelings and not the law?
Okay.
You guys are not listening, but that don't matter to
you.
you.
Were on a property that you're not allowed to be on.
That you know of.
I have 2 witnesses saying you were on that property.
And how does she know I didn't have any contact with the
Who owns that house then?
I don't know. I was trying to find out.
Who owns it?
I was trying to find out.
If you have permission to be there, then how do you not?
I seen it was empty.
1 detained.
And I seen the people that moved out. Okay, I seen that it was still empty. I said, well, I'm just going to walk back and look at the backyard, see if it's big enough for my dog.
So you just admitted you trespassing on property.
I didn't
You
even
have no
get
permission to be there.
I walked
And you're
between.
walking on the property to look in the backyard.
I didn't get to get to the backyard.
Wow. And Officer Mudd is a field training officer. Unfucking believable. He is no better than Officer Parker. Just because 2 people witnessed her being on private property, or Vita admitting that she was on private property without permission prior, is not what the law states, and does not satisfy the reasonable articulable suspicion or probable cause standard for being on private property unlawfully. For that, they would need evidence that she was told or informed by visual markings that she was prohibited from entering prior to her doing so.
I got to where the end of that there.
Okay, what's your date of birth again?
October 27th, 1959.
1959?
Yes, sir. Would you like me to bow down to you, too?
Why would I want that?
Hey,
That's
you
weird.
act like
Why
you're...
are you being weird?
Oh, hey, aren't we all?
I'm not.
Yes, you are. Oh, to you, you're not. To me, you are.
Okay.
So where were you headed to with all your stuff? Because you obviously just got
Sir,
out of there.
I walked from Battlefield Towers to Food for Less. I walked all the way down Woodland Street. I didn't make no stop. I turned right, went into the parking lot, and then I walked some more, got to Food for Less. I got the tea first. You want to know everything else? And then I left.
Who do you know that lives over here then?
I live at Battlefield Towers.
Okay, so why...
I walked down
If you
Woodland
live
to
at
go
Battlefield Towers, why are you trying to look in a backyard? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
because I have another dog. And I was trying to see how big the yard was because I knew the house was empty. That's why. And I didn't even get to where that big tree is right there by the house because her dog started barking. And after that, I backed off and started walking off after she cussed me out.
I'm willing to bet that most of you watching already understand why what Vita did is not illegal. But Officers Mudd and Parker, please keep watching so you can supplement your lack of proper training and mitigate causing further undue harm to the very people you are paid to serve and protect. I think the majority of people in this country are aware that if you walk across someone's lawn as a shortcut, or step on their property to check out the landscaping, or you go to knock on someone's door to borrow some sugar, sell them something, give them religious or political literature, it's not trespassing. And in all 50 states, all one has to do if they want to prevent unwanted visitors is put up no soliciting and no trespassing signs. We as a society can enter private property in the described methods because we all have what is called implied license or implied consent. It is part of U.S. common law and defined by the Restatement of Torts, Section 330. And it has been upheld by the Supreme Court since 1951 in Breard v. Alexandria. Oh, and keep in mind, those are the same things that allow law enforcement to set foot on your property, look around your yard, and knock on your front door all without exigent circumstances or a warrant. I have explained how Veta did not break the law, and how yet again a couple of officers have done the exact opposite of their sworn duties. I don't have any secret sauce here. Any one of you can look this stuff up. Arcane knowledge at this point is virtually non-existent with the current abundant access to information we all have. I encourage all of you to educate yourself and fact-check everything. That is my entire purpose for doing this, to share this knowledge and expose our broken law enforcement institution.
So, that's okay. You know, God is good, boy. God is good. Devil, God don't like ugly. That's all I got to say about that.
You got her info?
Vita Meints, October 27th.
Vita Meints.
Meints,
Yes.
whatever.
I'll see if I can.
Yeah, because I told him that, but he don't remember.
Vita has been aware through this entire situation that it just isn't right. Unfortunately, she is not informed enough on how to deal with these de facto tyrants. Most people aren't. Ideally, you should never talk to the police, ever, because that is your right. And every single lawyer or every single police officer family member will tell you, never ever speak to law enforcement. Ever. If I was in this situation, I would have told Officer Parker that I was not unlawfully on the property, I entered under implied license, and I left immediately upon request. I am not willing to further participate in your investigation, and I will only provide my ID if you tell me I will be arrested if I do not provide it. But definitely don't do what I would do. I have a sick curiosity, and I would absolutely love to see exactly how undereducated these officers are. So right now, Officer Mudd is going back to the car to do the one thing that he is probably good at. Run Vita for warrants.
You told me to spell it. That's a hard name to spell.
And then I said it to you, Meints. It's German. That's what I said.
Well, then what is your name?
It's Vita Meints. Spell it yourself. Meints.
Meints?
This is German. M-E-I-N-T-S. V-E-T-A. Stupid.
I don't know why you're yelling at me. What did I do?
I didn't do nothing.
Okay, well, you're the one yelling at me.
This is not her yard. I didn't walk in her yard. I walked in his yard.
It's not your yard.
No, I said I didn't walk in her yard.
Yeah?
I walked in his yard, and he did not file a complaint against me.
Oh, okay. Oh, drop some stuff.
Imagine that. Could you please pick my stuff up and put it in my purse?
Yeah, I can actually.
No, I'll do it myself.
You're gonna do it? Okay.
Yeah.
You got any weapons on you?
Oh, no, sir.
No?
Nope.
Alright, let me kick it over to you.
Don't believe in weapons. At all.
You don't believe in weapons?
Huh?
You said you don't believe in weapons?
Nope, sure don't. Don't like guns. I'm really scared of knives. And
What's that? Is that
that's
for your...
my albuterol that came out when
Albuterol?
it hit the thing.
Okay.
Oh, but that's okay.
You want me to zip it up for you?
No, thank you. I'll get it. I appreciate it.
Looks like you're struggling there. I want to help. Can I help?
Nope.
No. You don't?
Nope. Don't want no help. I've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of years by myself.
Hey, we're going to move over here.
Don't worry about that. I'll get it.
I got it.
Put my stuff down.
Come on.
Please.
We're going over here. You better stand up before I make you stand up.
Oh, yes, sir, master.
Get over here.
Yes,
hey, you're
master.
being weird.
Yes,
Stand over
master.
here.
Yes, master.
You're good.
Oh, this is far enough. Hey, far enough.
That is far enough. Yep.
Yeah, buddy. Oh. Well, I need to call my son. I really do.
Well, I think we're past that.
Why? Why can't I call my son?
I'm not going to let you.
Why?
Because the way you're acting. I don't like the way you're acting.
I don't think I even need to say anything about that remark. But what I do want to say is even though Vita is not well versed in the law and her rights, her common sense and ongoing commentary are amazing. Her rapier wit is on target and hitting these officers where it hurts, repetitively. She should be proud of how she handled herself here. I can't fault her for speaking with the cops because, as I said before, Officer Parker would have most likely thrown her in cuffs immediately and arrested her on the spot.
Well, I don't like the way you guys are acting to me either.
Well, how was I acting? I was being nice to you, and then you started yelling.
In typical bad apple fashion, they have initiated an illegal detainment, not conducted the investigation properly, escalated the emotions of the interaction, did not collect Vita's statement cohesively and professionally, and used excessive force. And it took Officer Mudd this long to either realize that Vita didn't commit trespassing, or while he was sitting in the car running her for warrants, he called someone who told him that he could not cite her for trespassing because she didn't. And right now, they are going to make sure that Vita understands how their authority is righteous and ubiquitous, and that she should be obsequious when dealing with them.
All right, Vita. So here's the thing. This house is still owned, okay? And there's people that are watching that house, okay? I've already contacted the owner, and he wants to pursue charges against anybody that's on his property.
Okay.
So, you are not to be on this property. If you come back, they're going to call, whoever,
Right,
okay?
I
And if I
understand.
catch you here, I'm going to take you to jail for trespassing.
Okay, well,
Do
you won't
understand
ever...
that?
Yes, sir, I do,
Okay.
and I won't
We're
ever
gonna
do
take-
that
We're
again.
going to take those off you,
I just...
and you can continue walking out to where you live, okay?
Thank you.
to lift your arms a little bit up here, okay? You understand why we're here, though?
Yeah, because there's no such thing as freedom.
Well,
freedom.
Okay, you gotta stop twisting your wrist, or I can't get.
I ain't twisting it. That's just normal for me, sir.
Well,
look how little it is. I got some really.
You just mentioned freedom, okay?
Yeah.
You know what part of my job is to do? Do you know
this is not freedom. I'm
Listen
sorry.
to me for a second. Do you know what part of my job is?
Yeah, handcuff people all the time, take them to jail so you can get money. That's what y'all do.
I don't get paid based on how many people I take to jail.
Oh, okay.
So,
but the jail does.
They don't either. So here's the thing. I get charged with enforcing the law. That's part of my job. Talking to people on the street who are, I've been told, are in conjunction with a crime I'm investigating. That's part of my job. You mentioned freedom. Part of people's freedom is property rights. Okay?
They should have done that for my son.
That's what you violated when you went onto their property. So, I'm here to enforce people's property rights.
And it takes...
But I know that you don't agree with what we do.
No, I do.
But you're good to move along.
Okay, thank you.
You are free to go.
Thank you.
You guys good, or you
Yeah, we're good.
With their officers conducting themselves like this, SPD is just rolling the dice on setting the stage for the citizens to successfully sue them in a civil rights lawsuit. If Mudd and Parker are handling trespass calls for service like this, then how many of the other 300 and something officers are doing the same damn thing?
Well, this chick is going to be tied to this. I'll put her in as a person of interest.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be that hard to be walking up here and filling a backpack and going back up to the apartments.
Her story doesn't even make sense. She claims she knew it was vacant and was going to the back to see if it was big enough for her dog. Like, that story doesn't make any sense.
She would have had no way to know it was vacant unless she
was inside.
She says she's seen people moving from here.
She claims she saw people
so
move
she was
out,
thinking about renting it.
No, but she hasn't seen anybody move out because
it's not even up for
things
rent.
weren't
Yeah, I
moved.
know. Somebody seen you into the backyard? Yeah.
Well, see, I seen the people move out, and they had a box of stuff. When they moved out, that was in the yard for free. So I seen they moved out. I said, well, I'm gonna check out the backyard, see how big it is, because it's empty.
So you saw he was moving out, so you were going to check out the backyard, see how big it was, because you were thinking about renting the house if it was up for rent.
Exactly.
Dude, we were having a normal conversation. She started yelling. I was like, hey, why are you yelling at me? And she's like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, okay, see, now we can talk normally. And then she started getting amped up again. I'm like, look, I don't want to put you in handcuffs. Why don't you put me in handcuffs? Why not? I'm like, all right, you're going in cuffs. She's like, no. And I'm like, stop resisting. I will slam you.
And then because I heard you raise your voice at her, and so that's when I was like, I'm going to keep an eye on that. And then I see her starting to pull away from me and stuff, and I was like, oh no.
She wouldn't have gotten. She wouldn't have gotten far.
Her story just doesn't make sense. She lives at Battlefield Towers, just down the freaking street. Why the hell is she here?
She walks to Food for Less. Yeah, so she said that she was walking here. She didn't have any bags. She just had her little pink purse or whatever.
So she did go to Food for Less.
Yeah, she went to Food for Less, and then on her way back, somehow, by the grace of God, she stopped right in front of us. So
yeah,
bad luck on her part, but
it's very bad luck on her part.
Yeah, she said she went. She said she didn't even go into the backyard. That she just
said she made it to this tree, which is what they said. They said that
okay,
she was
that makes sense.
Where they start between the house.
That makes sense.
Where they start between the houses.
That makes sense. She's like, and she started cursing and doing all this at me. And I'm like, well, why were you going back there? And sadly, she wasn't in cuffs at that point. But I was like, why are you going back there? And she's like, well, I was seeing how big the backyard was because I seen people moving out, and if it was up for rent, I was going to rent it. I'm like, okay.
No, you weren't.
Okay.
No, you weren't. You already rent a place. Why would you come rent this? 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 Why would you come rent this?
Then we're going to end this.